Identities, Umhlobo, the show that talks about your social, economic, and political issues. Today we are talking about a hot topic in Zimbabwe, the topic called Citizens' Dreams. And to discuss this topic today, I am joined here by Kudzai Rukainga, Executive Director of Anaya Grants, and I also have the pleasure to host Kudzai Rukainga, Programs Officer at Tege Life International Trust Tally. Welcome, ladies, to this show.
Thank you.
Madam Kuda, you heard about the march on the 18th of November. We marched. Did you go to the march?
I did.
Where were you that day?
I marched with everybody.
Where was that? Because I remember I did State House and I did Africa Unit Square. I came back to State House. Where were you?
I did the same.
Okay, Miss Kudzai, what happened to you?
Well, I did the State House, went to the Africa Unit Square, Zimster, ZANU-PF headquarters.
You went there?
Yes, we went there.
I wanted to go to Highfields and I saw that everyone was coming back.
Yes, that happened to me as well.
Okay.
And then back to the State House as well.
Okay, wonderful. Kuda, why did you go to march?
Well, I thought when I heard that there was a march, I couldn't really be left behind.
Okay.
Because what I felt was that this was the defining moment for a shift. I think like all other Zimbabweans, we were sort of like in a stagnant position when things were not moving. Okay. And when that march was announced, in my mind and with all my crew, we thought that we cannot be left behind. It felt like our Independence Day.
Kudzai, what did it mean for you?
Well, for me, it was more like that moment whereby you reflect on yourself and you say, what do you really want? It was a moment of change.
What was change for you?
For me, I wanted social change, economic change, everything, like the issue of not having jobs. Yet we are youth and we don't have any way to run to. Things are not working well for us. I wanted change.
Wow.
And I just had to get in there.
Wow. Amazing. Kuda, I know you're a farmer, you're a businesswoman, very young woman. What made you to get into farming? I mean, farming is not something that everybody gets into, you know?
Well, what made me into farming is that I think I'm a chemist, by the way, by training. Okay. So I'm a practical person.
Right.
So when I was analyzing the landscape of Zimbabwe, I realized that I think the larger percentage of our youths really like, office jobs. Yeah, and bling. Exactly. Right. Nice.
But can't I have bling if I was a farmer?
You can. Oh, I've got bling.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Anyway. Yeah, so the thing was, when I was looking at Zimbabwe, and where we were, and what needed to be done in the future, I think Zimbabwe needs people that are willing to get their hands dirty.
Oh, my God.
People that are willing to
wow.
People that are willing to do the actual production.
And there's money in there, is there?
Yeah, beyond the money. Okay. When you look at
well, but you are looking for money. Kudzai spoke about money.
Yeah, she did. But I think for me, when you look at farming, it goes beyond just the money. Right. In Anaya, I think we are more like a social enterprise. Okay. The money is the yes. But then we are also doing a social. I'll bring. But our job really is like looking backwards at those farmers, even when we were marching, because they couldn't be in Harare. Right. They may not even understand. Right. But the same challenges that you're facing, maybe as a mother or as a woman, as a young woman here in Harare or in urban areas, it's the same challenges that they also face in the rural areas. Okay. So those people they need help in order to create opportunities.
Those people are us. Do you know that? I grew up in Rosman. They are us. Okay.
Exactly. Those people are us. Yes. Yeah, but in terms of opportunities, limited opportunities. Yeah. Maybe because of information. Yeah. Land maybe, but they don't know what to do with the land. Right. But what do they do? You want to and you need the honey. Right. But how do you get this? That in the value chain, but not a linkage of some sort.
Exactly.
Kuti munhu ari kuproducer kumambushop and mukadzi ari kurima like nzungu dzake. Kuti wozonotenga dovi rako kana kuti some retail chains. Panofanira kunge paine vanhu vari kuplaya pakati ipapo. And ipapo panoda a certain kind of people who are like me, and people that have got the confidence, people that are well connected, who are able to create.
That inspire also. I can imagine if you came to buy from me as a woman, just looking at you, you actually inspire me beyond farming to say, well, yes, you are my broker, but I probably could be you as well.
Exactly.
But can I just jump in and say, at Anaya, do you guys then do some mentoring of sorts to farmers in the communities, to young women?
Yeah, we do. You need like it, and our catch line release from one mother to another. Because when we were just trying to do our mission release to try to get women into lucrative agri value chains.
Thank you. But I really want to then come to you and say, you spoke about the issues of social change that you wanted. You spoke about many things. Can you give me 3 things that bothered you to want to change? Just 3 things.
The reason why I want change is, as I sit here, I feel like I represent a lot of women out there.
As we said, they are you.
Yes, they are me.
Yes.
And looking at a rural background, there's a lot that we can touch concerning women in the rural areas.
Because I feel like that's a conversation we need more time for. And ladies, I'm going to come back to you at some point. You had it. They went to march on the 18th of November. They had dreams. I want to hear your dreams. Get us on Identities on Facebook. Look for Identities, Umhlobo, Jatiri. Let's have the conversations going. Don't go away. Join us in the next segment. Welcome back to our program, Identities, Umhlobo, Jatiri. Today where we are talking about the citizens' dreams. And on this next segment, I'm joined by an awesome Zimbabwean. His name is Doug Coltart, born and raised in Bulawayo, a human rights lawyer, a citizen activist who is very passionate about Zimbabwe. And today he's also joining us representing a platform called Citizens Manifesto as a non-partisan platform. Welcome, Doug, to this show. Tell me about your dream for our nation as a citizen of Zimbabwe.
Yeah, I think my dream is really to see all of our citizens empowered to be able to live out their dreams, to speak their voice and their voices to be listened to. Yeah. So to kind of unpack that a little bit, I think sort of a foundational part of that has to be democracy, but not democracy for democracy's sake. Right. But as a mechanism for ordinary people to have an influence on their society, on the way they're governed. That also means that I think there has to be socioeconomic justice. Right. So because poverty is also something which keeps people shackled and down. Right. Yeah. So in order to be empowered, we have to deal with inequality, poverty. Even women's empowerment, is so key, not just for the sake of women, but for our whole society. I'm sure you know that women's empowerment is one of the drivers of development for everyone. Yeah. So I think that is really my dream: is to see ordinary people empowered to express themselves.
Doug, I've known you for a while. You're a passionate, compassionate Zimbabwean guy who's white as well. How has been working as a white Zimbabwean within the issues that you care about?
Yeah, I think for me, I've really found that the vast majority of Zimbabweans, of black Zimbabweans, just accept me as another Zimbabwean. I think because of your character and your attitude about it, you're easy to. But how have you seen the other white folks? Has it been the same? We need to talk about this. Yes, no, for sure. I think for quite a lot of white Zimbabweans, they feel like it's better not to get involved in politics. I think there's a level of sort of self-segregation at times. I think there's also a level of fear. I mean, maybe people see how I do, because I do come under a lot of fire sometimes from a small minority.
But everybody comes under fire in Zimbabwe.
Exactly.
But please tell your story, the kind of fire that
I think, but I think you exactly, that's exactly the right point. You know, I think sometimes white people feel like they'll come under fire for being white, and maybe you might, but the way I see it is that everyone comes under fire,
right?
And you're people who are against you are gonna find whatever is the easiest target to hit. And when you're a white guy in Zimbabwe, gonna be that. But you have to
if you're Nyari and you're not married and you're an activist, they're gonna flash you the single card.
Exactly.
Shut up.
Exactly. So you have to you have to take it. Okay. Take it as it comes, and not be too swayed by those voices, and actually realize that the vast majority of people are really keen just to come alongside and take our country forward.
The history of our country is really real, right? But sure. I think what would be your dream for? So you spoke about you being a citizen activist. What does that mean? As a white person and as a Zimbabwean, what does being a citizen activist mean?
I think a citizen activism for me, I think I place myself within this, this sort of resurgence of ordinary citizens, just over the past few years, of ordinary citizens throwing themselves into a society and saying, actually, we want to have a stake in this. I think for a long time, our political scene was very dominated by political parties, whether it's the ruling party or it's the opposition in the broad sense, and both were sort of seeking to speak on behalf of citizens.
Exactly.
And I think in some ways really beginning with Itai Dzamara, and then escalating into the huge wave of citizen protest in 2016, and culminating, I think, in a sense, in the 18th of November, March.
Right. There's
been this resurgence of ordinary citizens saying, actually, you know what? We want to express ourselves and say what we want, as ordinary citizens, and I don't have to be attached to an organization or a political party, but as a collective, as ordinary citizens, we need to voice ourselves, and I think that's a really key thing in any society, is to have an active and engaged citizenry that can hold both the governing party, opposition parties, business, traditional civil society. All of these players need to be held account, and that only comes from active citizens.
I think on this show, I just found my amen way of saying you nailed it. So whenever I have something going on, I'm just gonna be like,
exactly.
Because you said something so profound that there's been polarization. Is the word. We've had citizen voices kind of silenced, and manipulation going on, and we need the citizens manifesting themselves into their dreams to say, no, we'll not allow you opposition or you ruling party. We are the citizens who put all of you in charge of us. Therefore, we have our voice. Do you feel like the citizens have found their voice at this point?
So I think the citizens have been expressing their voice for a long time, but I don't think it's been listened to. Zim has a long history of active struggle, and so to give credit, I think people have been voicing. But I think that in order to have our voices heard, I think it's important for us to really come together, to get organized. And
are we organized as citizens, Doug?
I think we are getting there. Let me put it that way.
But
I
even
think
as the young people in our nation, Doug, sometimes we just can't agree on simple things like
when
we see violence happening from any political party. Doug, this is a huge story, a huge issue that we need to discuss in the next segment. Don't go away. Join us in the next segment. Welcome back to Identities, Umhlobo, your show that talks about your social, economic, and political issues as you are affected. Today we're talking about citizens' dreams. What are your dreams as a citizen? Today I'm joined in by Doug Coltart, the human rights lawyer who's residing in Harare, working in Harare right now. And I'm joined by Kuda, who is a farmer herself and an executive director of a company. I'm also joined by Ms. Kudzai from Tege Life International Trust Ali to talk about our dreams as citizens. And I want to start with Kudzai. What are the dreams? What is it that you want our government to do for the young women, for the young people of our country?
Yes, I would really love the government to help us with strategies, implementing of policies that can help women to be empowered in every area of their lives, especially in decision making. Okay. We also, as Tali, we're running a program, we're running a campaign called ACES, Every Child in School, and we would really love to see every child go to school, because we do not want to repeat the same mistakes that happened before us, and we want our children to be in school. Every child has a right to be in school. The future of every child is in the schools. Also, there seems to be high maternal mortality. Yes. And we need, especially in rural areas, we need hospitals that are easy to access for young women, because that's how they die, trying to access a hospital that is so far away from them. And
the issues of child marriages, is that not one of the reasons why?
That's a major issue as well, child marriages. We do not want our children to be married off at a young age. Most of our parents' influence, yes, we would say that it's the children's fault. But sometimes you find that parents as well have a role to play. The government has to do something, has to implement a policy and to make follow-ups on these policies that they make, because we want our children to be children and not marriage material for children.
I am feeling the passion, because I want to right now. Thank you. We feel the passion, and I think also it's important at this point to reiterate the point of jobs and better jobs. Kuda, you're a farmer who is been operating in the previous dispensation. You have hopes, and you told us earlier on how you went to march and everything. We all had dreams. And so what are the dreams? What are maybe quickly address a few challenges that you young farmers are facing, and then what is it that you'd like to see our new dispensation, our new government doing for young farmers or for young business people out there?
Okay, I think I'll start by saying that the current government really have to be mindful of the fact that we've got a growing youth population. So I think the question here is, who will feed the future? So if we don't embrace farming or agriculture, we are definitely going to have issues.
And maybe marketing farming to say, how does it become interesting to Kudzai here? Who's not here?
I think the government should be mindful, as I said, mindful. You know, like, how do the youth operate? I think they need to encourage to bring in tech into agric, because if it's not tech savvy, a lot of youth will just not be interested in it. But how do you?
But are you not the youths who are supposed to work with government? Because government, yes, maybe can avail resources, but us as the youths, as the youth who are in farming, what is it that you want? Don't you think that you also have to form synergies with those who are already in tech to do that? What can the government do for you guys to bring tech savviness that you're talking about?
I think the role of the government here is to just create the conducive environment. Because when you talk about tech, we are really now looking at integrating with other nations, the West or the East that are using technology, but the environment has to be conducive to us.
What's one thing that you would point out in the environment and say, this is exactly what I want the government to change? What is the environment? Because environment can be so broad.
Well, I think it's just that's broad also, but embracing the youth, engagement with the youth, giving an opportunity for communication. Because it's difficult to just say, I decide as Kuda to walk into the Minister of Agriculture, I don't know where to start. But if there are platforms or where we can discuss openly, conferences or just
indabas and stuff
for
young people,
which are open,
people, intergenerational as well. Farmers are kudara, and also not only brown or black farmers, but also how do we create platforms to work with the white folks who have been farming, who are also coming back? How do we create the synergies?
Exactly, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Not Aninge Ari like in the rural areas, in the urban areas, no, but just across board.
Right.
Where people from the different walks of lives are coming together, because people are segmented in agriculture.
So give me 2 or 3 things that you're saying as a person working in agriculture. This is what I want my government to do.
Well, land ownership, I think that's number one. They should avail land to the youth, because I don't think a lot of us youth have got land ownership. We are probably farming on our parents.
You're an annex, okay.
Exactly, but if you would have, then you are able to do whatever, because upon a certain limitations, because you're working on your parents' land. So the land ownership, I think it's a critical issue. Yes, number 2, it's availing, as I said, of opportunities for technology to be embraced in Zimbabwe. I think
investing in infrastructure of technology.
Well, not really infrastructure, I would like to say, but just to be open to embracing it, really. Just to be open to hear. Because if you get into agriculture, you'd actually find that even in Zimbabwe, we've got young farmers that are coming up with new apps. But the government is to embrace those new apps, even in command agriculture. Like when you are coming up with a program like command agriculture, if you look at the program, really
think technology.
Think technology, but maybe it's not really into the national program to improve the agriculture, because maybe they didn't know, or maybe there was not that platform for communication. But if they are open to it, then they can put it in the written documents
from the government.
The third I think is to look at women. To look at women in agriculture. So it's broad, I know, because women, we've got issues.
I know it's a whole episode,
it's a whole topic on its own. Exactly.
We need to talk about. Doug, you spoke about the youths not have. You felt like the youths have not yet arrived with voice. What is your dream of the current dispensation?
I think there's 2 things. I think it's incumbent upon us as youth,
as citizens,
to get organized, to get active, and actually make sure to make our voices heard, right? But I think in
instances where you feel like you are trying to get attention, what if you don't feel like a particular ministry is hearing you?
Well, I think we need to be creative about the different way, using different ways to engage, and to really make sure that we are speaking with one voice, and in a powerful and directed way. I think the second thing I was going to say is that I think we need a shift in culture, in that there needs from those who are in power or in some position of authority to listen to citizens. I think there's a culture of whether it's government or even civil society or all sectors of our society where we speak to people and we tell them things rather than actually taking the time to stop and ask and listen and hear, and then take those ideas and put them into practice.
This has been an amazing show that we've had. I hope you found this useful. We were talking about the citizens' dreams. What is your citizen? What is your dream as a citizen? What are your desires? We all went to march on the 18th of November 2017. We had a dream, we had a desire for our country. And I think that I'll build from one of the speakers or my guests here, Doug Coltart, to say the citizens, we've got the responsibility to shape our country. We will speak into the kind of the leadership that we want. Our leadership will respond to us. And I think that we need to all psych up and embrace that things have changed. Our government needs us to help them step into the change that we want to see. Until next time, goodbye.